I remember when the Bodhisattva first gave us the instruction that we should accompany the Tang monk, she also gave us the promise that when we called on heaven, heaven would respond, or when we called on earth, earth would reply. We just have to decide where we should go to seek help. When I caused great disturbance in the heavenly palace, said Pilgrim, all those divine soldiers were no match for Old Monkey. This monster spirit, however, has considerable magic powers, and so our helper must be someone stronger than even Old Monkey. Neither the gods in heaven nor those deities on earth will be adequate. If we want to catch this demon, we must go to ask the Bodhisattva Guanyin. But unfortunately, my bones and muscles are sore and my torso is weak. I can't perform my cloud somersault. How can I go? If you have any instruction, said 8 Rules. Tell me. I'll go. Smiling, Pilgrim said, all right. You can go, but when you appear before the Bodhisattva, don't stare at her face. You must lower your head and bow with reverence, and when she asks you, you may then tell her the names of this place and the fiend and beseech her to come to rescue Master. If she's willing, the fiendish creature will, of course, be taken. After 8 Rules heard this, he mounted the clouds and mists at once and headed toward the south. We now tell you about that demon king, who was celebrating in his cave. Merrily he said to his subjects, little ones, Pilgrim Sun truly has suffered loss this time. Though he may not die, he will be in a big coma. Hala. I fear that they might want to go find help somewhere. Open the doors quickly. Let me see where they are going. The fiends opened the doors, and when the monster spirit rose into the air to look all around, he discovered 8 Rules heading toward the south. The south, the monster spirit thought to himself, could mean only one thing: 8 Rules was going to seek the help of the Bodhisattva Guanyin. Dropping quickly from the clouds, the fiend cried, little ones, find that leather bag of mine and take it out. It hasn't been used for quite some time, and I fear that the rope around its mouth is not strong enough. Change the rope for me and place the bag beneath the second door. Let me go and capture 8 Rules by deception. When he is brought back here, we'll store him in the bag. Then he'll be steamed until he's flaky so that all of you may enjoy him with wine. The monster spirit, you see, had a compliant leather bag, which those little fiends took out and fastened a new rope to its mouth. They placed it beneath the second door, as they were told, and we shall speak no more of them. We tell you instead about that demon king, who had lived in this place for a long time. The whole region, in fact, was familiar to him, and he knew which route to South Sea was the shorter one and which the longer. Taking the shorter route, he mounted the clouds and at once went past 8 Rules. He then lowered himself onto a tall ridge, sat down solemnly, and changed into a specious form of Guanxin to wait for 8 Rules. Treading his clouds, Idiot was on his way when he saw suddenly the Bodhisattva. He could not, of course, distinguish the true from the false. Like foolish men of the world, he regarded all images as real Buddhas. Stopping his cloud, Idiot bowed low and said, Bodhisattva, your disciple Zhu Wuneng kowtows to you. The monster spirit said, why aren't you protecting the Tang monk on his way to fetch scriptures? Why have you come to see me? It was because your disciple and his master met on their way, a red boy monster spirit, who resided in the fiery cloud cave by the dried pine stream in the roaring mountain. He abducted our master, but your disciples found the way to his door and fought with him. He happened to be someone who knew how to start a fire. During our first battle, we could not prevail, and during our second one, we could not extinguish the fire even after we asked the Dragon Kings to assist us with rain. Since elder brother suffered burns so severe that he could not move, he asked me to come to plead with the Bodhisattva. We beg you to be merciful and save our master from his ordeal. That master of the fiery cloud cave, said the monster spirit, is not prone to take human lives. It must be that you have offended him. Not I, said 8 Rules. But elder brother did offend him. The fiend changed himself at first into a small child hung on a tree to test master. Our master, of course, had a most kindly disposition. He told me to untie the child and elder brother to carry him for a distance. Elder brother wanted to dash him to the ground, and that was when he abducted master. The monster spirit said, "Get up and follow me into the cave to see the cave master. I'll speak on your behalf, and you can salute him. The two of us will ask him then to release your master." O Bodhisattva, said 8 rules. If he's willing to return our master, I'll be glad to kowtow to him. Follow me then, said the Demon King. Idiot, of course, did not know any better. Instead of proceeding to the South Sea, he followed the fiend right back to the entrance of the fiery cloud cave. When they reached the cave, the monster spirit proceeded to walk inside, saying, "Don't be suspicious, for he's my acquaintance. You come in, too." Idiot had no choice but to stride inside also. With a terrific shout, the various fiends seized him all at once and stuffed him into the leather bag. After the rope around its mouth was pulled tight, the bag was drawn up high to a beam and hung there. Changing back into his true form, the monster spirit took a seat in the middle and said, "Ju 8 rules, what sort of abilities do you have that you dare accompany the Tang monk to acquire scriptures? That you dare go ask the Bodhisattva to subdue me? Open your pair of eyes, take a good look, and see if you recognize me, the great King Holy Child. Now you are caught, you'll be hung for 4 or 5 days before you'll be steamed and served as hors d'oeuvre to my little fiends for their wine." When 8 rules heard these words, he began screaming inside the bag, saying, "You brazen fiend! Don't you dare be so insulting! So, you've plotted and planned to deceive me, but if you dare eat me, every one of you will be stricken with the heaven-sent plague of swollen head." Idiot thus persisted in his expostulation for a long time, but we shall speak no more of him for the moment. We tell you instead about the great sage son who sat in the forest with Sha Monk. A gust of putrid wind blew past and, sneezing immediately, he said, "Bad. Bad. This wind betokens misfortune more than good luck. Ju 8 rules, I think, must have taken the wrong way." "If he did," said Sha Monk, "couldn't he ask someone?" Pilgrim said, "He must have run into the monster spirit." "If he ran into the monster spirit," said Sha Monk, "couldn't he run back to us?" "It's not right," said Pilgrim. "You sit here and guard our belongings. Let me dash over the stream and find out what's going on over there." Sha Monk said, "Your body is still sore, elder brother, and I fear that you'll be hurt even more by him. Let me go." "You won't do," said Pilgrim. "Let me go instead." Dear Pilgrim. Gritting his teeth to endure the pain, he took up his iron rod and ran across the stream to reach the entrance to the fiery cloud cave. "Brazen monster!" he cried, and those fiends guarding the door ran inside to report. "Pilgrim's son is shouting again at the door." The Demon King gave the order for him to be seized, and all those little fiends, teeming with spears and swords, rushed out the door shouting, "Seize him! Seize him!" Pilgrim indeed was too weak to fight, and he dared not oppose them. Diving to one side of the road, he recited a spell, crying, "Change!" He changed at once into a cloth wrapper adorned with gold. When the little fiends saw it, they took it inside and reported, "Great King, Pilgrim's son is scared." When he heard the word seize, he was so frightened that he dropped this wrapper and fled. Laughing, the Demon King said, "That wrapper is not worth much. All it contains must be the torn shirts of those monks and their old hats. Bring it in and wash it clean. The piece of material can be used for mending or lining." One of the little fiends put the wrapper on his back to carry it inside, not knowing that it was the transformation of Pilgrim. Pilgrim said, "That's good. That's how you ought to carry this cloth wrapper adorned with gold." Not thinking much about the thing, the monster spirit left it inside the door. Dear Pilgrim. Even in the midst of falsehood he knew greater falsehood, and each fakery of his produced more fakery. He pulled off one piece of his hair on which he blew a mouthful of divine breath. It changed at once into the wrapper, while his true body took on the form of a tiny fly that alighted on the door-post. Then he heard 8 Rules moaning and muttering somewhere in a muffled voice, somewhat like a hog stricken with plague. With a buzz, Pilgrim flew up to look around and saw at once that there was a leather bag hung high on the beam. When he alighted on the bag, he heard 8 Rules expostulating the demon in all sorts of vile language. "Wretched fiend," he said. "How dare you change yourself into a specious Bodhisattva Guanyin to trick me here? How dare you hang me up and want to eat me? One day, when my elder brother uses his boundless power equal to heaven, all monsters of this mountain will then be caught. When I'm freed after this leather bag's untied, I'll rake you 1,000 times before I stop." When Pilgrim heard these words, he laughed silently, saying to himself, "Though the idiot must be suffocating in there, he hasn't dropped his banner or spear yet. Old Monkey must catch hold of this fiend. If I don't, I'll not be able to rid myself of my hostility." He was just trying to think of a plan to rescue 8 Rules when he heard the call of the Demon King. Where are the 6 mighty commanders? There were, you see, 6 little fiends who became special friends of his, and these spirits received the appointment of mighty commander. Their names were Cloud and Fog, Fog and Cloud, Quick as Fire, Swift as Wind, Hurly Burly, and Burly Hurly. The 6 mighty commanders went forward and knelt down. The Demon King asked, "Do you all know the way to the house of the venerable great king?" "We do," they replied. The Demon King said, "Go at once and journey in the night if you have to give this invitation to the venerable great king. Tell him that I have caught the Tang monk, who will be steamed and served for him to eat so that his age may be lengthened 1,000-fold." Obeying this order, the 6 fiends swarmed out of the door and left. With a buzz, Pilgrim flew away from the bag and followed those fiends to leave the cave. We do not know who they want to invite to come here. Let's listen to the explanation in the next chapter.